Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste. I'm an OPA certified astrologer. I'm a coach and I'm an intuitive. And I'm here to talk about Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius from November 9th to November 29th. The intention of this video is to help people understand retrogrades on a deeper level, as well as what comes up during this time to help you recognize the signatures of Mercury retrograde so that you can thrive through this important transit. Okay. You should be able to see the slide. I did a whole video about Taylor Swift with this topic. And we'll talk a little bit about her with this retrograde. But anyway, I'm sharing the right slide this time because I have two screens. Yes, and Mercury is the trickster. So this is a time where communication gets a little funny. I have been having problems for days. I'm recording this on the 8th, the day before Mercury goes retrograde. I have had all kinds of little hiccups. My TV is not working. Me and my boo fooled around with it for like 10 minutes last night, and it turns on and then turns off. Hopefully it's temporary and I don't need a new TV. He had to buy a new car in the shadow period. He had a whole thing. I'll talk about it in a minute. But anyway, Mercury in Sagittarius. I am calling this through Crusaders because Sagittarius has Crusader energy. Okay, this is me. I'm a Taurus sun, Aries moon, and a Cancer rising. I'm the host of the Celestial Insights podcast, which drops every week. It's a podcast intended to help you navigate the week like a boss. You get three big things to look out for and a word of the day. And my word of the day and my themes are hitting it. We'll get to that in a minute. Every war results from the struggle for markets and spheres of influence, and every war is sold to the public by professional liars and totally sincere religious maniacs as a holy crusade to save God and goodness from Satan and evil. Robert Anton Wilson said that, and that's the quote I'm using for this Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde 3 to 4 times a year for 3 weeks. It's one of the most famous astrology transits because people notice it in their own lives. People have been studying astrology, studying the stars and correlation as above, so below for thousands of years for themes that show up. What is Mercury? Mercury is the planet that rules communication, transportation, technology, contracts, thought processes. It's the closest planet to the sun. It whips around the sun really fast. And when a planet goes retrograde, what happens? It's an optical illusion where it appears like it's moving backwards through the zodiac, but it's just closest to Earth. Its energy is intensified. So what you tend to see during this period is miscommunications, misunderstood texts, arguments over what was said, technical glitches, emails vanish. You send the email to the wrong person. You CC someone accidentally. You CC Sally in accounting when you're talking smack about Sally to your boss. And yeah, this is the kind of things that happen. Apps crash, Zoom links fail, all of this kind of stuff. Travel delays are on point, and this one, it's going to be a bigger story than normal. Missed flights, car troubles, all of that kind of thing, because the topics that the planet rules go wonky. There can be a lot of contract confusion. This is not the best time to sign any important contracts, but life goes on. You have to make deals, but you really want to check, like triple to quadruple check things when you're in Mercury retrograde. It's not the best time to buy a house, like really big things. It's not the best time to buy electronics. I've been wanting to buy a new refrigerator for like 2 years. And every time I get ready to do it, it's Mercury about to go retrograde. So I keep delaying it. But after this one, I'm buying my new refrigerator. Yeah. There could be mental fog. This is a big deal, the mental fog. Today, I just posted my moon memo, and I post moon memos here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I forgot to update the caption with the correct date. So I had to go back and do it later. So you will find yourself having to redo things or having to correct mistakes more likely with this transit. I saw this horrible thing on Instagram like 2 minutes before I got on here where a TikToker, and I've seen people doing this, driving, recording TikToks and talking on the phone and recording a TikTok. That is so dangerous. Well, this woman hit and killed someone. This was today or yesterday, I guess, but it's on. And while she was live streaming, and you hear the crash, she screams, the whole thing. A person is dead because of this. What she did, recording this while forgetfulness, overthinking, these are things that can come up. But retrogrades are wisdom gates. They do invite us to slow down, learn lessons about ourselves, pause, reflect. They are moments of rebirth, realignment, and reconnection with our inner truth. They really are a gift from the cosmos, but we have to remember to pay attention when, especially the day it starts, especially 2 days on either side. Maybe even you want to make that 5 days on either side. It's important, especially when the planet is stationing. So there are a planetary affliction. Planets want to be going in direct motion. Think about when you start walking backwards, how difficult it is. But what they really do is retrogrades pull back the tapes so you can see what is underneath. With Mercury communicates. You say things out loud potentially, or people you're involved with say things out loud that normally you would keep in your head. I have Mercury retrograde natally, and a lot goes on inside here, especially since I have Mercury trine Pluto. I spend a lot of time in my head. I have 4 planets in air, 2 planets in Gemini. So it goes retrograde and things come out that maybe I wouldn't have said before. When I see my boo on Monday, I kept reminding myself to not to think before I say anything. And we had a wonderful time. But Monday, Mercury will be officially retrograde, and hopefully there won't be any dust ups. There's an opportunity for conflict. But what they bring is, but they're beautiful because they can also your thought process. You can really understand what you're thinking more. And what was I going to say? Your thought processes and what you're thinking. It brings things up to your conscious attention for growth. But reversals, you think you're going left, you're going right. Maybe when you're walking, this is a great time. Sagittarius is the wanderer. So this is a beautiful time to take the roads less traveled, go on a drive without a destination, but pay attention while you're driving, or just walk, use your feet, go in nature if possible, if you live somewhere where it's nice. These can be beautiful things to do. Just turn on one of your streaming services and maybe watch a documentary, a movie that takes place at a different time or a different country, and gives you the opportunity to learn something you didn't know about. Sagittarius is philosophical. You may see people waxing philosophic more. You may be waxing philosophic. You may learn more about your higher level thinking, meaning philosophy, the bigger picture stuff, versus just the details or the facts, which is very Gemini. And there could be the recurrence of previous situations. So keep that in mind. Conflicts and disagreements. This is classic retrograde. Erratic events and mistakes, like the woman running into someone, and the collapse of anything contemplated. Think about all these flights that are being canceled. You think you're going to Paris, you're going right back into your home, unfortunately, for some people. Ghosts come back. You run into people you haven't seen in years. One of my old customers texted me a picture of my business card and said something about how I hope the stars are treating you well. It was so cute. This was a couple of days ago. We're in the shadow period. Okay. But return of lost items. So notice if you've lost something, my sister's cat knocked one of her earbuds somewhere in her kitchen. She can't find it. She looked everywhere. I told her, you may be able to find it after Mercury's retrograde, like Monday. We'll see when she finds it. And she's like, oh, brother, I want to be awarded that I did not say anything about Mercury retrograde. Oh, yes, I did. When my boo's car, this was in the shadow period, and he is a Sagittarius, and he went to get his oil changed. He wasn't paying attention, and they wrote down incorrectly on the form the type of car he had, and he loved this car, this Camry. They put in a wrong filter or something. It destroyed his engine, and he had to get a new car. So in the shadow period, I didn't say anything about, ooh, you really don't want to buy a car in this. I did say that's your Mercury retrograde situation. Doing better about not talking about astrology to people who are not that interested in astrology. Anyway, he's got a new car. It's cute, but he says it doesn't have enough pep on the highway. So who knows? He might sell it. He has regrets. He might sell it and get something else. Yeah. Okay. So this is the things you're supposed to do during this time. All the RE words: reflect, reassess, reconnect, recharge. Call an old friend who lives a long distance away. That's a great thing to do, or a cousin with this energy to just catch up, see how they're doing. Sagittarius is joyful energy, but this is Mercury. These are the things Mercury does. These are the things that can be having issues. Mercury communicates, articulates, negotiates. A lot of trouble can happen with negotiate. For the people who are taking the astronomy for astrologers exam on the day Mercury goes retrograde, good luck. They have an open book test, but it's the day Mercury goes retrograde. You make an error in one place and it carries through the whole thing. You can get the answer wrong. If you're constructing a chart, I'm sending good vibes to all the people taking this test because of math errors. There's a big possibility of math errors. It does all these things. It transports, organizes, schedules. Businesses around the country and the world are going to be having mix-ups. Sagittarius rules the hips and thighs, stretch them more. These are some of the places that you may be seeing some of the problems. These are the mercurial people, mercurial things, planes, trains, and automobiles, big stories. Tubes of all kinds. Mercury rules even tubes in the body, like the fallopian tubes and the eustachian tubes. Sagittarius is one of my favorite signs. I love it. It's associated with the Archer. It's a fire sign. Fire energy is yang. It pushes the energy out. It's adventurous and philosophical, funny. Lots of comedians are Sagittarius. Howard Stern is one that I can think of off the top of my head. Good, really weaving a story, taking you on a journey with their words. Optimistic. Now, athletic athletes are Sagittarians. Idealistic, straightforward. Every sign has a shadow. Argumentative, hot-headed, careless, restless. Sometimes you see with Sagittarius people, like they're so all over the place, stuff everywhere. Overindulgent, overdoing it. Why stop at a good time when you can keep on going? There can be a lot of problems with overindulging on substances or whatever it is you overindulge on. Not committal, not wanting to make any kind of commitment, rude, dogmatic. And these are some shadows. It's ruled by the planet Jupiter, which shadow can be like arrogant, think know it all. But the storyteller, the comedian, the wanderer, messy AF, that's what I was trying to get to, could be with a Sagittarius. Explorers, the professor. This is a great sign for a teacher. Now, Mercury is in the sign of its detriment in Sagittarius. It is far away from home as it can be. It's in exile. So astrology is a language. Notice if you hear these things, someone being in exile, someone far away from home. These are also Sagittarian themes. The blowhard is a Sagittarian theme. Loudmouth, yeah, loudmouth, blowhard. Foot in mouth disease is like someone who says something and like it's like they put their foot in their mouth because they get in trouble with what they said. With retrogrades, what happens is Mercury's going along or whatever planet, and then when they cross the degree they're going to come back to, that is when we enter the shadow. We entered the shadow on October 21st. That was at 20 degrees of Scorpio, which the new moon in Libra at 28 Libra on that day, October 21st. So there was a new moon. This new moon that we're in now was when Mercury entered its shadow. So things that started back then, there can be a callback to. So activities that started then, yeah, like little problems can start surfacing. And I had a bunch of little problems surface. So I'm like, oh goodness. And my ascendant's at 20 Cancer. So this is a trine. So hopefully it won't be any big deal. But knowing that Mercury's stationing in a trine to my ascendant, I'm like, oh, I got to pay attention to what's going on. We'll see. Oh, I just thought of something I'm doing. Okay. Mercury's going to station at 6 Sagittarius on November 9th. And then it's going to appear to go backward through the zodiac all the way back to 20 degrees of Scorpio. So moving from Sagittarius to Scorpio. And then it's going to go direct on November 29th. And then it's going to exit its shadow on December 16th. So this area of your chart between 20 Scorpio and 6 Sagittarius, you're going to get 3 coats of paint over this area of your chart. We can have small disruptions, intuitive nudges in the pre-retrograde shadow. I just got an intuitive nudge about something that could be happening. Now, during the retrograde period, there can be problems arise. Hold on to your hat. But during the retrograde, it's a time for review, reflection, recalibration. Sagittarius is very celebratory energy. So there can be a lot of fun. The jokes are coming. Post retrograde shadow is the integration phase where we learn lessons. There's clarity, closure, and we can make conscious choices. On Tuesday, me and 2 of my astro besties, Tiffany Ehrlich and Sarah Arar, every year we have an astrology predictions workshop. It is beloved. It's only $33. You can sign up. If you can't make it live, you can get the recording. It's Tuesday, November 11th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. I collaborate with Tiffany on this. It's her creation. I'm an affiliate. You can use my code. It's down there. It is an amazing tool. By down there, I mean in the description, you have links to both of these things. Our event, which I highly encourage you to come to, and the calendar, you get a discount. So Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, I called this. So last year, November 29th, I presented this for the retrogrades and the eclipses for Kepler College. Oh, and I'm going to do it again on the 29th of November for 2026. I'll put a link to Kepler in the show notes. So for Kepler, that's going to be another event about the astrology for 2026 with 5 astrologers. Rick Levine is speaking, Shu Ya. I can't remember who else, but that's going to be great too. So there are 2 great opportunities to get insights into next year, which is going to be an incredible year. Okay. Here is the chart for Mercury stationing retrograde in Sagittarius set to the United States, Washington, D.C. It's Pisces rising with Jupiter representing the people in the 5th house. We might be celebrating something. Yes, the 5th house rules children, fertility stuff, marriage. Well, marriage is more 7th house. Fertility is more 5th house. Sex, sexuality. Look at the moon and Jupiter are both in the fifth house. Now, because of the government shutdown, the president is fighting to keep SNAP benefits from people. 40 million people in the United States rely on food assistance. Lots of them are working, but they're the working poor or disabled or children. And the administration has cut that off deliberately to cause pain and hardship to people as the Democratic Party of holding the line about wanting Obamacare subsidies extended so millions don't lose their health care next year. Mercury and Mars are in the ninth house. The ninth house rules long distance affairs, foreign places, the Supreme Court or courts, as well as education, higher education. Broadcasting is a ninth house topic as well. Mars rules the ninth house where Mercury is. Ninth house also rules religion. This is what I wrote last year. I wrote, get jiggy with it, which I've decided that's the theme. It was a prediction about Mamdani, the mayor of not San Francisco, the new mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. Get jiggy with it was a song by Will Smith, who's a rapper. And Mamdani did some rap in his past. He's got Riz. There was so much excitement for people who supported him when Mars entered Sagittarius opposite Uranus. People wanted change. He is a crusader, the third generation activist. He wants to make progressive changes to New York to help the working people. Will he succeed? We shall see, but I'm hoping he's the real deal and he does his best to make some changes. He's hired this woman. He's got an all-female team, but one of the people is like, she's not playing around with these corporate thieves who are constantly trying to steal from and hoard wealth. She is very feared. I forget her name. Nostalgia for the old with Jupiter and Cancer. Music, dance craze, remakes of movies. Frankenstein is in the theaters right now. That movie, Begonia, I need to see that. Feels very much like, I wonder, when I see it, I'll see if there are any Mercury retrograde themes. It was released in the shadow. All of this in the fifth house. And nostalgia is a very Cancerian topic. Drag racing, Mercury, Mars in Sagittarius, them being together. There is a much higher propensity for accidents. Slow down. Look both ways before you cross the street. Don't assume a car sees you. I saw some kids from the high school crossing the street yesterday who didn't even peep the direction of traffic. People are drunk. People take pills. People do other kinds of drugs. Pay attention. They're more likely to be doing more drugs around this time. So pay attention when you're crossing or driving or moving through life. Yes. That woman, the TikToker live stream who killed a pedestrian, and I bet you this is impacting her chart. Conflict overseas, battlefield mistakes was what I put last year. And the Trump administration is thinking about going into Venezuela. I hope not. The 10 Commandments. So let's see if there's a court case about the 10 Commandments. You see it somewhere. It's put up on some school wall or something. Yeah. They're always trying to do that in certain places. I wrote this a couple of weeks ago. I meant to do this video quite a bit ago. Protest song or dance goes viral. One thing that's going kind of viral is my name is Mamdani, Mamadani, Mamdani. There's something on Instagram going viral around him. There may be some other new song. I love this woman. What's her name? Eve. Earth to Eve. She's got some songs that are really great. Pop star and athlete secrets revealed. I'm going to talk about Travis and Taylor Swift because they have 26 Scorpio in common. and it's going to get 3 hits. And that point squares Algol, one of the most feared fixed stars. It's the beheading star. It's related to the Medusa mythology. A pregnancy may be revealed. I don't know why rolling. I wrote down the word rolling. I meant to erase it. Oh, I don't know. It's Station Square, JD Vance's 10th house Chiron. I wrote that weeks ago before the infamous hug and running the finger shoot up there with Charlie Kirk's widow. And it's Station Square, Obama's Pluto in Virgo. So I'm going to talk about President Obama in a little bit. This also coincides very closely with Jupiter stationing retrograde. So Mercury stations retrograde on Sunday, barely moving, and then Jupiter stations retrograde on Tuesday. So there will be some story that involves both Mercury and Jupiter. They're both associated with transportation. Mercury, short distance transportation, Jupiter, long distance transportation. Mercury's the facts, the details. Jupiter's the big picture. Yeah, we'll see. There's a grand, I call this stormy weather. There's a grand trine in the sky. It's getting tighter and tighter. Jupiter retrograde, Jupiter and Saturn are staying in this tight trine for a while. This is absolutely beautiful for sustaining some kind of expansion. In water, it may be internal, emotional. You can make your own magic. You can go back into the past and piece together things and finish them off. This can be your psychic intuition skills sharpening. This could be really beautiful, but all this water is wet and there could be storms, bad storms. There may be actions to tame inflationary pressures. I think there was a recent rate cut. I'm not sure if it was done by the Fed when Mercury was in the shadow or not. A religious leader in focus. This is what I wrote last year. Limitations on no-fault divorce. Notice if you see any stories, you can send them to me. You can DM me on social or email me, Celeste at astrologybyceleste.com. I wrote down, turn back the clock. The Democrats kicked butt in the elections this week. People are furious about this administration destroying the economy with these stupid tariffs and actions, destroying our relationships around the world with Canada, damaging our relationship with Mexico, all this mess, China and whatnot. People's businesses have gone under. Bankruptcies are up. 1 million jobs are gone since, or layoffs have happened this year. So the economy of the U.S. was the envy of the world in December, and now we are in trouble. So anyway, turn back the clock. Because of the election successes, it's getting louder and louder. A lot of these Christian nationalists want to take away women's right to vote. They really want to. But I said this a couple of months ago when I was looking at this chart. It's like, what are we celebrating at this time? What is the extended celebration, or people celebrating somewhere else something big? We'll see. Yeah. But I also got sinking ships. Jupiter has associations with big ships that carry cargo and wealth. Hopefully there won't be any problem with an oil tanker or something when Jupiter stations retrograde in the sign of Cancer. Cancer rules the breast and the stomach. And yeah, the health wise, these two, Jupiter, the liver as well. Okay, I'll get to health in a minute. So that's the first story I want to bring to your attention. So I post on Instagram and Facebook my words of the day for the podcast and a little write up with personal guidance, collective guidance, and then a prompt. So the word for Thursday was pitchforks, because this was the day that Mars sextiles Pluto. So Mars and Sagittarius, people are on a crusade and they're moving in a group. Pluto's in Aquarius and they're furious. Venus moved into Scorpio, square. Pluto in Aquarius. If Venus is in Scorpio, the sign of her detriment, where she is exiled, unwanted, kind of pushed, yeah, cast from her estate with no hopes of recovery. And this genius, who has a Harvard degree, decided to write an op-ed, and he interviewed two conservative women. Did Women Ruin the Workplace was the first title that they gave the article. People went ballistic. The pitchforks came out. The typing started. Did liberal feminism ruin the workplace? The title was updated to that after they got a bunch of complaints. There was another title. There's another title that they changed it a third time. But this man is named Ross Douthat. I was like, why do you do that, Ross? Because aren't you stupid? Oh. Anyway, Ross is not stupid, but he is a Sagittarius. People are furious. I was mad as a hornet when I read this, and I went immediately and canceled my subscription to the New York Times. I don't read it that often, but I wanted to support quality journalism, so I kept the subscription. No more. I'm done with the New York Times publishing this kind of trash. In a time where they're trying to take all our rights from us, they're pushing women out of the workforce. They want to take the right to vote away. They want women in the kitchen, pregnant, making sandwiches, changing diapers, which is great if that's what you want to do. But if you don't want to do that, there are forces that are really over the next, watch what's happening. We'll see where women in the workplace are 5 years from now. If they have their way, almost none. Okay. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox. But this is this man's birthday. This is a natal chart. We don't know the time he's born, so you cannot construe anything from the houses. This is a noon chart. What do we notice here? His sun is at 5 degrees of Sagittarius. So Mercury stationing retrograde at 6 degrees of Sagittarius. So we are talking about him, his identity. Look at that face. People are tearing it up on threads with their commentary. I am not going to get involved in that, but Jupiter in Cancer is trying his Saturn right now. Virgo. On September 21st, we had a solar eclipse at 29 Virgo. It was a South Node solar eclipse where the South Node is a drain, and Saturn rules karma, consequences, hardship, the new start. Now it's 4 degrees away, 29 and 25. So this is like, where are we now? We're about a month and a half from the eclipse. What's going to happen when? What is that 24 Virgo? Oh, okay. We'll see what happens. Anyway, he's hearing a lot about it, about this article and the attack on women. I don't know if he has an Aries moon. Maybe he's just steamy about it. But if he's born before noon, before 10 a.m., he's got a Pisces moon, and it'll be interesting. I wonder if his moon is around 25 degrees Pisces. Saturn is on his moon, or Neptune and Saturn are on his moon. Next week, Mercury and Mars meet. I wonder if he'll get fired from something, just invited to something. Someone stops him on the streets and gives him a piece of their business. He gets a lot of personal mail. Someone calls him on the phone and tells him this, that, and the other. On Wednesday, the 12th, Mercury and Mars, Mercury's moving very slowly into reverse, retrograde. Mars is boom. That's the energy on Wednesday. And the word of the day, Mars attacks. Mars energizes. Mars fights. The word of the day is credibility. And then the moon enters Virgo. Maybe there'll be an article released, a counterpoint. I won't be able to read it because I don't get the New York Times anymore. I'm sure somebody will post it on Threads and I can find out what it's about. Anyway, that's this guy's story. Mercury When a planet is stationing on one of your personal planets or angles, it's like a branding iron. Mercury can destabilize and argue. He's getting a lot of talk about his identity. The sun rules our identity. So here's Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift. They are now engaged, and we now know Travis Kelsey's first time. So he's definitely a Virgo rising. Now, this solar eclipse was to his, at 29 degrees, was to his first house. The North Node's in his seventh house, transiting. The South Node in his first house, he's getting married. Now, he has this 26 degree. The thing that jumps out at me is that his Venus is at 26 degrees of Scorpio. So he's about to have a Venus return. And Taylor Swift's Mars is at 26 degrees of Scorpio as well. They have a Mercury Mars conjunction. They're a natural match. This is really nice for sexual attraction. So I'm wondering, we may never know. This is underneath the horizon. So we may, but it's in the third house of communication. Mercury is going to go, it's already gone over that point once. It's going to go back in reverse and then forward again. Are we going to find out during one of these trips, these connections, their wedding date? Maybe they'll announce their wedding date. Or will we find out someone's pregnant because Taylor Swift is having a Jupiter return? We think she has her moon's in Cancer, but we can't be absolutely sure. But I wonder, and this solar eclipse squared her Ceres, which is the asteroid of nurturing and motherhood. So we'll see if there's a pregnancy, something about pregnancy, a wedding date announcement. Will a sex secret, Scorpio, or money secret come out? It could be public because Mercury rules his midheaven and his ascendant. I would say he needs to be really careful playing football during this time because there's a higher possibility of him making a snap, not thinking clearly, getting an injury. Let's see, does he have anything? Mm, yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, just something to be, it just, because 20 Scorpio, does he have anything at 20? Oh, 20 Scorpio is in his third house, sextile his ascendant and trying his descendant. Yeah, that could be when they could announce their marriage plans at Thanksgiving or, then. But Sagittarius is loud and Scorpio spills secrets. So we'll see if we hear anything about that. Okay, JD Vance and Usha Vance. So this new moon at 28 degrees of Libra, which happened on the 21st of October, was to his Pluto. Pluto embarrasses, humiliates. It can be deeply healing, but it's like secrets are spilled, power dynamics come out. Pluto and Libra. There was some turning point event where people are still flapping their gums about the interaction between him and the guy who got assassinated. Very sad, tragic. His widow running her hands through JD Vance's hair. It was taboo, inappropriate. A married man and a woman who's not his wife having this really deeply intimate, sexual, scorpionic kind of interaction. Now we know Usha and him have been having problems. So anyway, Uranus is back in Taurus. It's going to move back in April. It will station square his ascendant, descendant. This could be a marriage separation. Uranus is opposite her moon. So there's a lot of stress coming from outside ourselves, upheaval, abruptness, surprises coming from outside herself. Extremes, that's what oppositions do. But Uranus could be sun breaks. People were saying online, check your brakes, be careful driving. This was happening in the shadow of this retrograde. I'm sure nothing better happened to this woman. People were joking about it, dark humor, very scorpionic kind of discussions. But look at her Saturn going south node. He's going to be sorry he messed with her. He is going to be sorry. She is proud. They got this Pluto Saturn conjunction. I'm sure she knows how to cut him down to size. Where's her ascendant? Oh, she's got a Cancer rising. Oh, Lord. Pluto try for Cancer rising. She is a force to be reckoned with. This is not a woman who's going to take being scorned. I don't think she's going to take being scorned easily and embarrassed in public like that. She's probably hot as a hornet about all that. So we'll see what happens with them. But they're her moon is going to be eclipsed by square in February 17th. 28 degrees of Aquarius is the solar eclipse square for moon. It's a square and conjunct his descendant. She may tell him to kick rocks. We'll see what happens with that. Jeremy Renner, this is something that just came out as Mercury is stationing to go retrograde. And he has Mercury stationed in his natal chart in the sign of Sagittarius. And look, he has this Mercury square Pluto, where he can say some things that is, I mean, he's intense. He's a great actor. He was so good in The Hurt Locker and in that movie with Ben Affleck. John Hamm is in it too. Blake Lively. It's a heist movie. I can't think of the name, but it's really good. And he plays such an intense, like Italian, not Italian, whatever, Irish, like thug in Boston area for this heist thing. Really, really good. Yeah. But anyway, this woman is a filmmaker who says that they worked on some movie together, a documentary, and she says that he sent her unsolicited pornographic images. That's so mercurial via WhatsApp direct messages. When she confronted him, he threatened to call ICE on her. That's what he is alleging. Sagittarius rules long distance travel. I'm really worried about next Wednesday around then or during this time. These ICE raids could turn to tragedy where immigrants and American citizens are being brutalized, but somebody may go off on an ICE agent. They want to declare martial law. They want things to get out of hand. People don't have SNAP. Crime could be going up. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of opportunity for things to blow, for people to lose their cool, things to get out of control with this. Mercury Mars coming up this week, and all of this energy. And this new moon, Mercury and Mars were conjunct. Right before the new moon was a Louvre robbery. Mercury and Mars were conjuncted the new moon in Libra at 20 degrees of Scorpio. Now, he says he ended contact after she sent him a lot of messages and has been harassing him. It's not about who did what. It's about the timing of this. The retrograde is going to zoom right back over his Neptune, his Venus, his image is being impacted. He could lose projects. It's stationing direct on his Mercury will station on his Mars November 29th. This is an important transit for him. And Mars in the 8th house of betrayal, of taboo things, of loss, death and rebirth, taxes. They're all 8th house topics. How old is he right now? He's having a 7th house year. So Venus transits are important. And I think this dropped when Venus squared Pluto. So that Venus square Pluto brought this into the public's awareness. So Venus went into Scorpio. King Kunz's moon right now. Interesting. Venus is probably at about 2 or 3 Scorpio right now. Because tomorrow, let's look back. Tomorrow, it's going to be at 3. So yeah, Venus is only at like 2 Scorpio. So the timing of this makes sense. If he did threaten to call ICE on her, that's some cruel Mercury square Pluto stuff. Yeah. a threat that could cause her physical harm, being thrown into one of these concentration camps, brutalized and all. Yeah. So the president, we'll see what goes on with the president. The American public, we take on his chart in some ways as well because he is the leader of the country. We didn't have to be here, but we are. Anyway, maybe it's just karmic. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Anyway, Uranus is squaring his ascendant. Last week's podcast was called The Dead Man's Shit Switch. And there have been stories about everything. I said dead man switches are put in to prevent accidents. It started with the subway, so that if the person driving the car becomes incapacitated, there's someone else that can step in. We had a transportation accident already this week. And I also talked about lines of succession. I got like the image. I was thinking about J.D. Vance, the vice president. Well, Dick Cheney died, dead man switch. The themes of the podcast always show up. There was a man who fainted in the Oval Office, and there was this picture with the president in there, and this man is on the ground. We hear he's okay. Thank goodness the man is okay, but I feel like this is dead man switch. This gave me the theme of the movie The Omen with Damien the Omen. And this is like Damien is 79 years old and he's grabbed someone's spirits or life force in order to keep going. It's like something out of a movie. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that's what it looks like. And that may be where I got the dead man's switch from. That, I get psychic hits, Anyway, we've seen the title to the podcast show up multiple ways this week. Okay. Now, he was born when Jupiter was stationing. When Jupiter is stationing in the sky, it's important. And Jupiter is stationing on his Venus, which rules his midheaven. Jupiter usually speaks to success. It also speaks to going on a long journey. It's also conjunct his Saturn. It's like heading for his Venus, which you would consider like a blessing or a success. Really notice what happens. Now, because he's having health problems, it's a water sign. So like with his ankles, we may notice something about increased swelling or something like that. If I was his doctor, I'd be paying extreme attention to him 2 days before, 2 days after this stationing, because he's a Gemini and Mercury rules Gemini. This Mercury, so the planet that rules is Sun, and his vitality is going retrograde, pulling back, and it's in detriment. So there could be some issues, and maybe his hand will be red, or something. And Jupiter is, I'm fine. Jupiter and Cancer, I'm fine. Leave me alone. Da, 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 da. And then trip or has some kind of problem. So anyway, Uranus square your ascendant. Things can come out of nowhere, or you can behave erratically. And I'm concerned that we're going to war with Venezuela or something during this retrograde. There's a higher potential for battlefield mistakes. And these fishermen aren't necessarily drug traffickers that are being killed in the Caribbean. And the boats they're in couldn't even get to the United States. So this is a big deal, what's going on there. Lastly, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, talk about how the mighty have fallen. That was one of my things I said for Jupiter entering Cancer in a square to Saturn. So House Democrats have asked him to come testify before Congress. They want to know by November 20th his answer. And on November 20th, Mars will be at 11 Sagittarius, trine his sun. He lost his king and he's losing his home. Jupiter's trine his moon and Saturn is on his south node. He is emotionally furious. Now, Uranus is retrograding. It's not going to get back to exactly opposite his moon, but he's feeling that Saturn is stationing at 25 degrees Pisces to go direct on his south node. Uranus was squaring his sun. It's back from 1 degree of Gemini. He is his inheritance, sudden break from his inheritance. Eighth house is an inheritance topic. His identity suddenly changed. He cannot call himself Prince Andrew anymore. Yeah, because of what he has done with this Epstein stuff. And he may even be dealing with legal things. He is going to be on next summer, next August. Is it the 12th? I think it might be the 12th. I'm not sure. It's in August. There's going to be a south node solar eclipse at 20 degrees of Leo to his Uranus. Now, this Mercury retrograde squares his Pluto. He's embarrassed. He's humiliated. His self-esteem is impacted. That's the second house topic, by losing his titles because of his sexual depravity. So, if not now, when will the Epstein files be released or slip out? I think they're coming. I think this is a big part of this story. I've talked about this before. Neptune goes direct on December 10th. Will Congress be back in session by then? I said December 6th. Mercury and Jupiter are in a trine. Mercury's direct. Jupiter's retrograde. The government shutdown happened when Mercury and Jupiter were square. Maybe they'll come back right around that time. We're voting. This is what I had prepared. This is what I wrote. I showed this last time. The Congress is trying to get the Epstein files released, but Mike, whatever Johnson, is trying to stop it. And he's not even swearing in a Congress person because they're so scared about this. But the elections decimated the GOP. We may be finding out stuff. I said Mercury retrograde when it gets back into Scorpio. Notice what comes out around that time. But yeah, I called this transit Jupiter square Saturn and Aries, how the mighty have fallen. That brings to light, that kind of colors the whole transit. But the plowman shall overtake the reaper. This feels like moving, Pluto and Aquarius, moving towards taking care of the working class and not just letting the rich gobble up everything, the 1%. Anyway, I wrote this weeks ago that I wonder, the Trump administration is getting desperate. They're flailing. They're failing. This week, Steve Bannon talked about how we can't lose the midterms or we're going to jail. Other people are going to jail. They know they're committing crimes. We need to be aware that they may be taking actions that are extreme. I wonder, that eclipse that is at 28 degrees of Aquarius on February 17th is to Obama's south node. I hope they don't go after him seriously, like trying to force him to be in Senate hearings, doing like some kind of public beheading. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction is happening at 0 degrees of Aries on his Juno, square his Venus. It'll be interesting to see what comes out. Will it succeed or have the reverse effect? People just love him more because we get to see him talking eloquently. Really a big deal. One of my downloads was trying to knock the top off Mount McKinley. Like there's been this real effort to try to destroy Black people who are noteworthy and all that kind of thing. Apparently the podcaster Kirk, who was murdered, he talked really negatively about Martin Luther King, and I heard him say nasty things about other, he hated Black women. I hope they don't go after Obama. And why did I say that? Because his Pluto is Mercury is stationing retrograde at 6 degrees of Sagittarius in his 10th house. square his Chiron? Will they do something crazy to go after him to try to get people mad? Because they're flailing. They thought they would have martial law by now. They thought they would have an excuse, and they thought they would be doing better. The people are not acting the way their game theory this stuff out. So they're getting desperate. So they may take more severe actions. Certain people are moving on to military bases. Are they going to be trying to? Yeah, we'll see. I don't want to speculate. Anyway, I do want to remind you that on Tuesday, Tiffany, Sarah, and I will be talking about our predictions for 2026. I think you'll love it. You can go to Astrology by Celeste and sign up. It's on my front page. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll also put the Kepler College one that I'm doing. And the Wise Skies calendar is an incredible resource. I did a live with Tiffany this week. You can watch it on my channel that goes through the calendar. It's really incredible to have astrology at the palm of your hand. I hope you'll get it and use ABC 2026 for a $10 discount. But final wisdom, retrogrades are sacred pauses. There's no need to fear, only to prepare and stay present. Life must go on, but consider them when planning events. The cosmos rewinds so we can realign. And you know what? I didn't spend that much time talking about the travel may come to a complete stop with at the airports. Mercury rules long distance travel. One of the things I was wondering was about how Saturn stationing direct on Thanksgiving Day will show up. Stay home on Thanksgiving if you can. Lots of airlines are letting people cancel and get their money back. If you are planning to visit family, you might want to stay home. Saturn stationing direct on that day, suggesting it might be a bit of a bummer or hardships could be coming. People are being really generous, myself included, trying to donate to help people who are losing their SNAP, which is food assistance, and food banks. We're donating to food banks because millions of Americans lost food assistance. Some people have nothing to eat and are relying on donations, generosity, and whatnot. And so Thanksgiving, people tend to give a lot of money, especially around the holidays. But after Thanksgiving, it may slow down or something, and more people be experiencing hunger. Saturn in Pisces, poor people having extreme hardship. Saturn rules hardship. Pisces rules people who are disadvantaged, like refugees, the homeless, people with drug addiction. These are Piscean themes. That could be a big problem. The airline workers may go on strike, maybe on Wednesday. They're like, I have had this. They're not being paid. TSA agents or people who work for the government and who are not being paid, they're slipping them like gift cards and stuff to help them get through this hardship. Can you imagine having to go to work for no pay? This is really serious. Some people might not be able to afford putting gas in their car to get to work because of the games this administration is playing. This is my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. It's my opinion that this is the fault of this administration. The Democrats are holding the line because the Obamacare subsidies going away will mean people's healthcare premiums triple and people lose their healthcare. So they're holding the line on that. Be aware, transportation may come to a complete halt. 10% of flights have been reduced. Airlines are offering people money back. You may get somewhere if you have to travel. Take extra medication because you may be stuck somewhere longer than you thought. You may have to rent a car to get home. You may need extra hotel nights that you weren't aware of. Be mindful if you're traveling. There are things outside of your control that could be impacting with Pluto and Aquarius, large groups of people causing problems, especially with Mercury. The new moon in Scorpio is opposite. It's at 28 degrees of Scorpio on November 19th, opposite Uranus. Mercury is retrograde. That could be the end of travel. That could be like we're on strike. That could be a big release of information, secrets flooding out. That could be a huge storm. I had I had thought there was going to be a tsunami in November, and there was a blue tsunami with the election. So hopefully there's no big storm or earth moving around this time that leads to something. But it's a good idea to just I live in California. I need to check everything about what am I going to do if there's an earthquake and I need to boogie on out of here. It's a good time to review your emergency stuff. Do you have enough stuff stocked up? Where are your flashlights? Do you have batteries? What if keep your phones and things charged? I would recommend throughout this month because there could be like some kind of power outage. There is a power outage today in LA. That's going to cause traffic nightmares as Mercury stations retrograde. Okay. Well, I've gone on and on and on. This is my channel, but I talk a long time. I don't worry about all the things they tell you how to do it. I keep forgetting. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you are still watching at this point to help my channel grow. I'm trying to make the channel grow, and I want to do more on YouTube next year when I have more time. I'm trying to make it spaciousness so I can be more consistent with this longer form content to help people learn astrology so you can see the things coming up. You can watch the magic, the mystery, and the mayhem of the cosmos unfold. Mayhem, maybe I should have said mayhem, but sometimes it feels like mayhem. The magic and the mystery, but the universe is unfolding as it should for our higher good. Take good care. I hope to see you at the webinar. This Mercury retrograde could be a lot of fun and joyful energy, not just troubles and delays. Take good care. Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, signing off.